Right, welcome everyone to the Divine Design Parenting for Greatness podcast. I'm Pieter Skoekmoer, and today we're going to have a great conversation with Benjamin van Niekerk. Benjamin and myself and his amazing family go a long way, Benjamin. I used to be in Groblersdal. Your grandparents used to be in Middelburg. Your mom used to be in Middelburg. I'm not sure if they still live there. But what we're going to do is, Benjamin, we're going to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the listeners, where you're from, a little bit of about your background. We'll take it from there. And fire away.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Hope you're well. So my name's Benjamin. I'm born in Middelburg, Mpumalanga. I'm 29 years old, so almost 30 at this stage. Sport lover from a young age. Tennis, cricket, played a bit of rugby in primary school. Love golf, not great at it, but still love the sport. So any ball sport, I loved it growing up. A lazy learner, so didn't like school that much. And then, a fitness lover. I think that's probably, if you sum me up, love doing fitness and love playing sports. So that's probably it from my side.
You're coaching currently as well, right? Tell us a little bit about your coaching background.
Yeah, so at this stage, it started, my grandfather always coached tennis. So that was sort of his side hustle, if I can say it, like in the afternoons. And then once I started to play cricket a bit and I saw I could make a difference, the older I got, especially with the youngsters, like giving back to just info that I never had, for instance. And then also started, while I was playing, actually coaching a bit. So started a cricket academy, and then the love for that as well. Like I said, I like fitness, so doing gymming, etc. And then started my own gym as well with the Willoway franchise. And again, just like making a difference in someone's life, if it's a young kid that's 4 years old or even 10 years old, or if it's someone that is 50 years old and they want to change their lifestyle. I think the biggest thing for me is trying to make a difference where I can and sort of just try and assist and help people. So that's sort of the passion that I've got.
Great. I'm sure we're going to touch more upon it, but tell me about your grandfather playing such a big role in your early life, Oma Chrissy as well. Your granddad was a legend, is a legend in his own right in the coaching world. You know, everyone in Mpumalanga will know him. And why don't you share a little bit about your grandpa especially, but both your grandma as well, because she's a mean tennis player, you know, in the seniors. I don't want to throw myself under the bus, but she kicked my butt more than once when we played mixed league. So I'm not going to go in that route, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yeah, so I think I had incredible grandparents. So my mom, they used to work until like 5 o'clock. And then, my grandparents stayed right across the school, Laerskool Kanonkop. I was in that school. And basically my parents dropped me off before school at my grandfather's house. Like I said, my grandfather coached tennis, and then sometimes in the mornings I'll have a bit of a hit and a training session before. And then, sort of the role he played was he was a great mentor. I lost my dad at a young age. So during, I think, the rough stages, he was that mentor for me. Just thinking back now, the role he played was, he helped me with tennis, coached like whenever I wanted to hit balls, assist me with that. When I still played a bit of rugby in primary school, he used to take me to the field, kick some goals. And then even, he's a tennis coach, don't know much about cricket, but he'll serve to me and I'll bat, and he'll argue because I'm hitting the balls over the fence, and then we had to climb over the fence. So quite a good story. And then the one thing I can always remember is when we're going on tennis tours, a lot of the times it was me and him. My grandmother still made those boiled eggs, and the car used to stink a lot, but we ate it. And I think my grandfather felt too bad for throwing the food away, but we ate it and spent a lot of time together. And I think, like the calmness he brought, I think he was a very humble person. I think he coached a lot of kids in this area. I think he actually helped a lot of coaches as well. I think even a big tennis player like John Loveney, the Jager, he coached until probably age 12, 13, and then he moved away. So, yeah, played a big part in his role. And I think that's probably his biggest person that he ever coached in his life. So, yeah, he was a very good mentor, loving person, and also very humble person, and always had time for people. So, yeah, I think he played a big part. And I said to my wife the other day as well, like I just follow his example. Like nothing he's ever said to me is like, listen, you have to do this or that. I just followed in his example, like the way he led. And I mean, he coached a lot of kids as well that was good in tennis, but you also get your clients that's not that great, where he had, I don't know, he just had a lot of patience with the kids. That's the word I'm looking for. So he had a lot of patience, and he just tried to help people. And I mean, always wanted to learn more, always wanted to get better. Same with me as well. There was always something new, something, okay, we can work on this with the tennis, we can work on that. This is a better drill, etc. And he was always building machines to pick up tennis balls. I mean, we had a machine where you hit the ball onto it and just came back just for like that muscle memory. And yeah, I think my grandmother supported that role as well. She wasn't as active in that. She was more the person cooking for us, looking after us, the loving one. So yeah, I think the support role from her was also very good. I mean, they looked after me from a young age, as basically as parents as well.
Well, tell me a little bit about your mom. She still plays. I mean, she used to be, I think, ranked number 1 in the country, right?
Number 2, yeah. So my mom, I think it's a big hidden, not a hidden talent. I think she was very good. And I mean, people you spoke to, well, like you said as well, I think the talent part definitely came from her, like the ball sense for me and my brother. So thank you, Mom. We appreciate that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so she played serious tennis. I think her highest ranking was number 2 in South Africa. And she played, I think, SA varsity. I'm not too sure about that. And I think there's a paper article where she played against, I think, Amanda Kutzer. Amanda was a bit older. And I think she actually wrote to the paper and said, like, listen, this lady is actually serious. And then I think her path didn't go that way. She sort of fell in love, stayed here. And I think as well, I think it was scary for her to go over. So I think the fear of going across to a different country, I mean, she had bursaries to go overseas as well. She never took that opportunity. So yeah, I think, but the part she played as well, like, I mean, it's easy for her to have gone and say, listen, yeah, she's got 2 sons, living her dream through us, and we've never felt that. I mean, as good as she was in tennis, there was a couple of stages where she never forced me to play tennis. She was always the supporting role. She did, however, she wanted to smack me because I wasn't always the best behaved kid.
She wasn't the only one, Benjamin. I do apologize.
Yeah.
I've got stories about Benjamin on tour. We won't go that deep tonight, but sorry to interrupt you. She's not the only person who wanted to hit you over your head once or twice.
I think as a youngster, the support role, I mean, she never put pressure on even my dad now, never on my brother as well. I think that played a huge part. Like when I wanted to play rugby, I played rugby. When I wanted to play cricket, I played cricket. When I wanted to play tennis, I played tennis. So they left me to make my own choices. And I think that made it so good because I wanted it, not my mom. And at a stage, played tennis and then got the love for cricket a bit more, and the transition was easy, especially from my parents' side. They were just backing me and said, listen, go for your dreams, follow it. And even now, like my brother, he stopped playing tennis. He's in his last year at the university varsity, and he just said he wants a gap. And again, no one put any pressure on him. So I think that's very good from a parenting point of view. But yeah, my mom is always a loving person. She always supported us. I mean, when we had to go on tours, there was always money. There was always support to say, listen, go. I mean, I went to, I think, England and America for tennis as well. And it was like, listen, well done. Okay, we'll make a plan. And I think that was very good from her. And the supporting, the loving role, that she played was definitely a big part in my career and in my life. And I would like to thank her as well for not putting pressure on us to do whatever we want. I mean, if you've got a kid, they need to follow their own dreams and sort of guide them a bit, but let them make their own decisions at the end of the day.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to touch more upon that. For the listeners out there, brings me back to a story of not Jim Courier. Now I can't remember his name. Jimmy Connors. I apologize. Jimmy Connors. But Jimmy Connors couldn't beat his mom until he was 15. So at what age would you say your ranking was number one in the household? Were you ever one? Did she give you easy games? Did you guys ever play some sets? I know you had a talented younger brother as well playing, a really good tennis player. How easy was she on you when you guys played, or did she have pity on you?
So we actually never played, thinking about it, we actually never played sets. I think it was more because I didn't like losing. So I think it was more to save me a bit. But I think by the age of 14, 15, so 13, I think she probably would have beat me still. So
Wow.
I think 14, 15 was the age I could probably start beating her. You could just see I could hit the ball a bit harder. She couldn't return as much as possible. I think my brother might be a younger age because my mom was a bit older, so she didn't move that well on the court. But I think I would say 15, 14. Massive respect. I think me and my grandfather played a lot. I think I only started beating him when I was, I wanted to say 12, 13 maybe. And I mean, he was 75 at that
Good.
time. So couldn't beat him until I think about when I was under 12, under 13, can't remember exactly the dates, but massive respect. I think they had the mental side, the mental upper hand at that stage. So, yeah.
Yeah. Lots of memories come back, as we have the school, thinking of IPTs. I had the privilege to be your manager, the touring coach, the bad guy, sometimes the good guy as well, hopefully. But I always think of you and Karl-Heinz having this rivalry. There's a name that just popped up. Got to check in on Karl-Heinz. How's he doing? Do you have any still connections with the kids you played with on the provincial teams?
Yeah, so I see Jacques Fourie quite a bit. He's staying in Middelburg as well.
Nelspruit boy.
Nelspruit boy, yeah. I saw Willem Lowe the other day. He's coaching close by. So we actually played a game of paddle. He was also one of my big rivalries, especially just before he went to Affies. And then I've seen Zander quite a few times. I haven't seen Karl-Heinz in a while. He was also up there, like rivalry-wise. And Jannica van der Linde, I still see her quite a lot. That's about... I'm trying to think now, but that's more or less probably the people
that
I've seen.
Because I think so many times parents have the kids play sports and it's all about winning. And, again, for me, relationships, do we have communications years later on? I think that would be a great thing to just start out your playing career. I want to make some friends, you'll get better at it and, you'll then develop your skills to hopefully play on a higher level.
My best mates that I've got now are probably through sports. So like a guy like Daniel Griesel, for instance, we played cricket against each other at a young age. He also played a bit of tennis. And then, we sort of, through cricket, we became friends. And I mean, we're still best mates and lifelong friends. So I think between... And even like a guy, Stefan Enslen as well, also a very good friend of mine, and that is through sport. And I mean, that's memories from, the other day we chatted about it as well, from under 12, 13, wherever, going up, speaking about the tours, etc. So I think the memories and the friendships that you make along the way is a lot more important. 100%.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So just to set the stage for the listeners, Benjamin, I know you're humble and, the other day when we had a conversation and I was like, hey, Benjamin, let's have you on the call. You were very eager, but I think you played number one, maybe one, two, maybe here or there, provincial tennis for the most part of your junior career. Beautiful one-handed backhand, vicious underspin slice. Benjamin can play tennis, and now you've moved on to play, if I can call it pro cricket, right? I mean, you're playing for the Mpumalanga Rhinos. So I do think you're definitely, you're living the dream, Personally, Benjamin, you're living the dream, for every time I think of my school years as well. I really fell in love with cricket first. Tennis came second at a later stage for me. But I do think you've got a pedigree to share some valuable thoughts and insights for parents on today's call. How would you say playing multiple sports at a young age is beneficial to a child's development?
Yeah, so I think for me, my journey started with tennis. I think from a young age, again, next to the tennis court, my parents throwing balls, my grandfather throwing balls. So I think the ball development, like the ball sense in that type of way, I think tennis got that sorted. And then, when you sort of pick up a cricket bat, you can already hit a ball because, I think in the early stages of your development, I mean, from 4 years old, let's say till 6, 7 years old, I think tennis made a huge impact. And it's not just hitting tennis balls, actually catching or throwing or hitting the ball from the floor. It's basic stuff. And then I think tennis had the massive role. So I think wherever my foundation is today is because of tennis. And then as I got a bit older, primary school, high school, I played cricket, played rugby, did a bit of cross country in my younger years as well. And then high school cricket, tennis, stopped playing rugby in high school. And then I think grade 11, just played some hockey for fun with the friends. So I just wanted to do like an extra sport where I can sort of just relax, not focus on not too serious for myself, like just sort of enjoy for that. And then a bit of the fitness part to do with that as well. So I think the tennis part for me, mental. I think you're on the court, it's you and yourself. I know you're playing against someone, but I felt the biggest battles was the battles within yourself, not even the opponent. If you're playing well the day or if you're playing bad, it's not like cricket, you get out and you walk off the field, you have to play. And so I think tennis definitely gave me that a bit of a mental strength upper hand, if it makes sense. And then I think what cricket and the other sports sort of learned me is the team sport, the fun in it. And I think if I've got advice for anyone is to try and play as much sports as possible. I mean, a small thing can be like, let's say tennis, you have to hit an overhead smash, for instance. Cricket, you have to sort of get into that same position to dive or catch the ball. So there's a lot of stuff that mimics to that. And I think every sort of sport allows something different in that. You learn something from it. Whereas I see a lot of kids specialize a lot earlier these days. And I'm not sure why. I mean, big guys like A.B. de Villiers, they played. I mean, if you watch a guy like Stephen Smith, he can also play tennis. These guys, they play paddle now as well. They play golf. So they still do a lot of multiple sports. And I mean, for me, at the age of 15, 16, you don't know what you want to be. And you're not even sure, let's say you want to play professional cricket. How do you at 16 know unless someone has given you a contract already at 16? So I think the more sports you play that you can manage, it learns you different stuff, different life skills, different skill sets. And I think, I would play as many sports as possible. And again, my go-to sport will be tennis. I think that's the biggest foundational part, especially ball sense, mental side of it. And
Charles Basson, coach, very, very well.
Yeah.
He used to always say, tennis is the mother of all ball skills. He also said a balance is key in a kid's life. I just think in today's world, just to use the word pro sports so quickly in junior development is actually, it's actually ridiculous, to be honest. I'm coaching myself. I'm coaching more than 25 years. I think it's a term just being thrown around. people don't really know what it takes. And when they really understand it, then it's like, oh, there's so many excuses. The coach was too tough, or, things go haywire, and then there's all this blame game. Roger Federer's parents, they didn't expect him to be Roger Federer. They thought he's pretty good, but little expectation, a lot of commitment. Love the journey. It will love you back. And, don't have a destination. Don't just set it an arrival, because that's going to set you up for failure. I do believe that. How do you balance, Benjamin, the coaching, the playing, and your fitness? I mean, it's a juggling act, right? I mean, you're on tour, you're playing cricket. I mean, it's a whole day. It could be a whole 5 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
How's that juggling act? And still you're a husband as well.
Yeah, so I think for me, what I've seen again, I'm close to 30, so at this stage, I'm just my focus. So when I'm at the gym, so when I'm coaching, my attention is at the gym. I'm coaching. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not worrying about 2 weeks' times games. I'm focused on what I need to do. When I'm training, let's say gym work, I'll train and I'll focus on that for that hour, however long. And then when I'm coaching kids, I'm making sure my attention is there. And then, when I'm playing cricket or hitting balls, my focus is at the cricket. And I think the fitness part also has a lot to do with the mental side of the cricket, because you are pushing yourself a bit. I like to push myself in workouts, challenge myself. And then it's just extra sacrifice. And I don't think, we always see the lifestyle of it. At this stage, I'm waking up most days at 4 a.m. in the morning, going to bed at, let's say, 9:30, and then weekends, and like massive respect to my wife as well. She's my support system. And I will go to White River where we train on weekends. So massive shout out to our coaches as well. They throw balls to me on Sundays, Saturdays. I've got coaches here, Coach Sean and Colin, throwing balls to me as well. Extra, my wife, she's on the bowling machine every now and then. I have hit her with the ball before, so she doesn't like that too much. But I think it's just dividing your attention where it needs to be at that certain stage. And then, when you're at home, yes, you do some prep for, let's say, the coaching stuff for the next day. But when you're at home, be at home. When you're at your friends, be at friends. Don't worry about tomorrow's game, or don't worry about in a week's time. Just, I think, live in the now. If you start living too far ahead, I think that makes it difficult as well. So yeah, just for me, the juggling part of things. And also, I think it takes a lot of pressure, because I've got other things going on. It takes a lot of pressure off the cricket part of it. I think most cricketers actually stop because of like finances, or they get to a certain age where I'm 23, 24. Okay, I can work, but I don't want to give cricket a go, so they sort of stop. So I think it sort of keeps me in the run a bit longer, because I've got other things as well going for me. So that was always the idea, to try and play as long as possible, and to try and give myself the best opportunity to play as long as possible. So yeah, I think for any youngsters, the advice I would have is, if you want to try and figure out your way, or let's say you want to play professional sport, try and give yourself the best opportunity. And I think a lot of the times kids think, I'm just going to play that sport. It's not as easy as that. You had, I think, Zander on the call the other day as well, and he's coaching and he's playing professional golf. So it just shows you, and I think it just gives you a better mental state as well. Because for me as well, if I don't score runs, or I still have something to fall back on. And I think for the kids, my biggest advice for parents as well, let them study. Yes, if they want to study, so let them study, let them do courses online, whatever. But also let them sort of do something on the side, because professional cricketers, they train from 8 till 12, and then you're done. So you've got the rest of the day sort of for yourself, or 7, whatever time they start. But it's a half of day's work, and you can sort of set up your life outside of cricket. Most professional guys that I know that we play, I know guys selling houses. I know guys probably selling insurance. I know guys that's actually cricket directors at schools, yet they're still playing cricket. So they just balance it out. And I think they can also play longer because they've got the right things in place, if it makes sense. So not all your eggs in one basket, I would say.
That's well said. Because people think, playing pro sport is living the high life. It's hotels and, everything's being done for you. And, it's just all roses. But it couldn't be further from the truth. It's the behind the scenes. It's the sacrifices and sometimes even like, your wife. And, you've got to find, for the listeners out there, you've got to surround yourself with a great team,
100%.
It's really important. On our conversation the other day, you said you still want to feel like that little kid, being excited to go, go bat, go bowl. Do you think kids are still dreaming? And, what advice do you have for people to keep that dream alive?
So I think if you take back, so you as the listener now, when you play sports and let's say you played on a Saturday or you're going to play the Wednesday, whenever, I mean, that feeling, you put your kid out, your bat, whatever, your rugby shirt, whatever the case may be, and you felt excited to play. And I see it a lot, like I coach kids that's grade 2, grade 1, and I love coaching them because they've got that excitement in them. They want to be there. And I think that feeling you need to have throughout your career. I think sometimes you might lose it a bit, but I've always sort of tried to make a promise to myself to say, I want that feeling where I'm excited to go, like where I pack my bag and I'm shadow batting, or that's the feeling I want to get. And I think the way you can sort of get that is not to burn out. Okay, so not make that sport that you want to play your everything. I think that's where mental burnout comes from. And then I think the other part as well is just to manage the stuff. Sorry, guys.
We got a fan in the house.
Yeah,
I love it.
This is my baby daughter.
Hey.
So it's sort of just to manage it and also try and forget about everything else that's going on. I think sometimes we focus on, let's say for us, sometimes you focus on the politics side, or you focus on the performance side, or you focus on this and that, you focus on the pitch or whatever the case may be. So try and forget that and try and control the things that you can, if it makes sense. And then what I've seen as well is as a youngster, I still train quite hard, or I still train hard, but it's just to get that balance, not to train the whole year, sort of when we've got off season, to just dim it down a bit so that I want to go play again. And if you've got a kid and they sort of say, you want them to tell you, Dad, let's go eat balls. It shouldn't be the other way around. So that's sort of the feeling I want. So if you can hold on to that feeling for as long as possible, I think you should be all right. Then you should be able to play for as long as possible. So, I mean, if let's say someone's listening and they're 15 years old today and they still want to play when they're my age, I mean, that's a couple of years. I mean, that's 14 years from now. So from now, when you're 15 to 29, you still need to love the sport that you want to play for 14 more years. And you probably need to figure out how you're going to get that right. So a lot of the times, kids are good at a certain age, but we forget about the long-term goal. No one's a pro, like you said, 12-year-old pro tennis player or a 12-year-old professional cricketer. There's a guy in the IPL from India. He's 13, so he's probably a bit better. But
wow,
you need to let them play until they're 30. I mean, tennis, I mean, yes, it is a pro sport, but it's also a nice social sport. So if someone plays tennis, I mean, if your dream doesn't work out, it doesn't mean you can't play tennis anymore. I mean, my grandfather was 78. He still played. My grandmother still played. She was number 1 in South Africa. I don't think there was a lot of 75-year-olds though, but she was number 1 when she was 75. So I don't know if the competition wasn't a lot. But yeah, so
she's a fiery lady, you know. She competed hard. I mean, if we were in our 20s playing her in club league, and I mean, yes, so the this Tani, she sure sorted us out, you know. She wasn't there to play social when it was league, you know. No, I think, you know, so well said, you know, Benjamin. My daughter's unfortunately not playing tennis competitively anymore. I'm sure she'll hit some more balls, but you know, you just said they've got to bring the ball to you and say, throw me some balls. For years, you know, we had a night routine, throwing volleys. I mean, where there was so much fun before going to bed on her tennis game. You know, it's forehand volley, backhand volley. It's we say throw, catch, hot potato. You know, it's a forehand volley, a double backhand volley, a one-handed backhand volley. We would do 9, and she would just want to go on, go on, go on. And sometimes when she was having the most fun, I made sure I'm pulling the plug, because I want her to come back tomorrow night as well with the same enthusiasm. And I mean, it went on for years. And obviously there were days where, you know, she had a tough day and stuff like that. That didn't happen. But she always came back. She always wanted that moment. So, yeah, that's a great, you know, I think a recipe for the listeners out there. So, Benjamin, basically for me, you know, if a parent can get involved, if a parent can throw breadcrumbs to a pigeon, you know, they're more than able to throw a tennis ball or cricket ball to their kids. Because so many times that's all they want is that little, you know, interaction with the parents. On your side, what do you think is the biggest challenges kids are facing in today's world? You know, is it pressure? Is it distraction? Is it opportunities? What, in your view, is the biggest obstacles for our youth today?
So I've got a thing here that I sent you the other day. So I'm just going to elaborate on that a bit. So I think for me, number one, as coaching, I think every kid falls in love with the sport. Okay, they love golf, they love cricket, they love tennis. It starts out with the love of it. Okay, then I think from there it's sort of, so let's say you as a parent, you are involved, you are actually throwing balls. Then you just do it with your kid because you like it. And I mean, it's some quality time. I mean, for me, looking back, me and my grandfather had exactly that, hitting balls. He never had a full, if I made mistakes, he never had a go at me. He's always like, just keep going, try your best. And I think the one thing for kids is, so I think where the pressure comes in, they already put pressure on yourself, because you as a youngster, you don't like losing. No one likes losing. You can tell me what you want. So that's already pressure for you. So there's internal pressures. And I think for me, the two biggest pressures that come in is, number one, it's from the parents. And I think I'm very passionate about this is and I'm going to take cricket for an example now. So if I make a duck today, your reaction as a parent makes a big difference. So it doesn't matter the sport. You can have an awful netball game. So once you get into the car, what is the first thing that happens? Is that, okay, your voice is, listen here, Beatrice, I'm so proud of you. Today was not your day, but we're going to keep working harder. Next time, try your best. And whatever that kid likes, if that kid likes ice cream, drive, go buy him ice cream, sit with him, and don't go, the other way is, yeah, but you did this wrong. You did this wrong. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you block the ball? Why didn't you? So then it's negative. But then the next time you do well is the same parent that also said, okay, it's not the end of the world, we'll work it out, is sort of going to be that parent that says, yeah, my boy, I'm so proud of you, or my girl, I'm proud of you, but remember, tomorrow's another day. So try and stay humble, enjoy it, enjoy the evening. Again, take them for the ice cream. But the other parent that's always critical is now going to say, yeah, I'm so proud of you. You did so well. And the problem there is the kid's identity is, how can I say, built on performance. So if I'm not doing well, then my dad's not going to tell me he's proud of me, or he's not going to love me, or whatever the case may be. And I mean, I think it goes so deep. I think as a parent, you need to try and stay consistent, whether your kid is doing well or bad, because if you've played any sports, it doesn't go your way every time. Cricket-wise, I think Virat Kohli, one of the best cricketers, he scored runs 35% of the times. Roger Federer, I think he won 52% of his points. I think there's a stat there. I might be wrong, but I think I'm okay there. So one of the best in the world won 52% of his points in the world. And yet he was still number one. So again, he could get over losing a point earlier, or doing bad, or having not a great Grand Slam or whatever, just to move on. So I think number one for me, parents, I think, again, love your kid. They are not a professional sport person, and even if they are, still love them. And then I think the other part is coaches. I think sometimes as coaches, we sometimes see the potential of the kid, and we try and push it because we're more worried about the result than actually developing the players. And I think if you are a coach that's results driven, you don't always set the fundamentals right because you sort of do things to win, not for the kids to learn, if it makes sense. So I would rather walk away not winning a lot of trophies if I'm coaching like school cricket or whatever. But if kids can walk away learning life lessons, learning how to deal with pressure, learning how to deal if it's not my day, to still say to the guy in my team that's better than me on the day, to say, listen, yeah, well done. Or the opponent to go, well done. I will be back, whatever the case may be, but well done. You were the better. And I think if you can get kids to learn that and sort of to respect the game, to love the game, to just enjoy it. I mean, Kobe Bryant said it as well in a thing where if you won a championship or if you lost, nothing changes the next day. He still goes to training, or 2 days after, the process stays exactly the same. So I think just a couple of things that I just wanted to read you here, and it's definitely for parents, is I'm not trying to raise the next superstar. I think that's number one. Would it be amazing if you made it all the way? Yes, of course, but not at the expense of character. Then I want to raise a kid who cheers loudest for his teammates, even when he's one sitting on the bench. A lot of times I see that when we sit on the bench, we sulk. Who stays after practice to help clean up the gear. No one asks. He just knows it's the right thing to do. Who encourages the kid who just struck out, who fist pumps the one who's having a rough day, who plays with heart, not ego. And then who shakes the other team's hands with genuine respect, even when they lost a tough one, who listens to his coaches, who respects the parents in the stands and shows up on time because he values the team, who plays hard, works harder, and loves the game, not just the spotlight. Yes, I want him to give his best, to play with excellence, to take his commitment seriously. But more than that, I want him to grow up into a man of integrity, because trophies will collect dust. The crowds eventually stop cheering, but the kind of a human he becomes, that matters forever. One day the games will be over, the cleats will be hung up, and I'll still be his biggest fan, not for the wins, but for the way he played the game, with grit, with grace, with heart. That's the boy I'm raising. That's the man I pray he becomes. So I think that's something I saw on Instagram the other day, and I did share it on my parents' groups as well. And I don't think you can script it or say it any better than exactly that. I think there's a bigger picture in sports than just the winning part. So yeah,
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks for that. I think it will be amazing if you can share that piece again to me. Maybe just send me a link and we'll add it in the comment section for you, the listener, to go find that. I mean, there's so many gold in that. You know, sitting on a bench on an individual team or individual sport, I should say, people don't have that connection. I think the bench is the best place to grow. But unfortunately, in tennis, for one, we don't have the bench, so there's no connection between the brain and the bench. You tell a parent that, listen, the kid's not going to play the next tournament due to either bad behavior, skill not quite there yet. We're working on some stuff. You get fired real quickly as a coach these days. Because people are looking for people to tell them what they want to hear, not necessarily what they need to hear. So in Afrikaans, dit wat lekker is vir jou is nie altyd goed vir jou nie, en dit wat goed vir jou is ook nie altyd lekker nie. En jy weet, as 'n ou net daai gesindheid het, dan gaan ou ook al baie verder kan kom met kinders en met ouers. Benjamin, what advice do you then have? I'm the tennis parent. Ooh, Benjamin, I was a bad tennis parent at one stage in my life. Although I was in the sport, you get sucked into this junior tennis circuit real quickly. What's your advice for parents? I mean, on the cricket side, I think you've got an amazing advantage because your parents are very far away from the pitch itself. But in tennis, I mean, they hang on the fence. They're like, yo, moenie mate, don't cheat my child. You're a cheater. So, I mean, what advice do you have for parents in general?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is your kid can't be professional at 10 or 9 or whatever. So I think the biggest thing that I've seen as well, as soon as we see potential and I think that's what you're sort of speaking of as well, is when you see potential. And I mean, I coach kids that I can see there's a lot of potential, and I can see like there might be a future here, but again, it's so long. So I think the first thing is your kid plays sport because they love it. I think that's the number one thing. Your kid enjoys sport. One thing as well is it should come from your kid should tell you, listen, your dad or mom, I want to go play tennis. I want to do this. I want to be on the golf course, for instance. Listen to your kid. Your kid will sort of tell you. If your kid tells you, I've had parents tell me like, listen, yeah, my kid doesn't want to come for training today. Can you please speak to him? And then I say to them, don't let him come. He doesn't want to come. So I think that's like listening to your kid, and then try and stay level-headed. So I think there is coaches involved. Let the coaches do their job. I think there's good coaches around South Africa, tennis, cricket, whatever. Let them do their job, and you just be the parent. I think sometimes it mixes in when I, as a coach, I've got a certain role for you, and I see you in a certain way, but the parent might not see. So let the coach do his job. Also, as a parent, never disrespect a coach in front of your kid. I mean, like going to your house and saying, "Yo, but this coach Benjamin doesn't know anything." Then the kid is also not never going to respect the coach. He's never going to listen to the coach. I think that's also a big thing. And then, yeah, I think again, keeping it the same. Your voice. If your kid is doing well, stay humble. If your kid is doing bad, stay humble. And I think your voice to your kid as well is when they do bad, it's just a day. I mean, the other day, my mom actually came to watch cricket. I scored runs the first two innings and they were happy, whatever. And I made a first ball duck again. And my mom is just like, I went to them afterwards and she's like, yeah, that's cricket, huh? What can you do? And then we moved on. So I think for me, from my side, from my parents' side, that was sort of the chat. The chat was, yeah, it wasn't your day. And I think my grandfather's chat was always like, never give up. I mean, like I did throw tantrums on the tennis court, and I wasn't the best teenager, to be honest. But my grandfather just told me, never give up. Doesn't matter what situation you are, keep fighting. Even if you're angry, take a moment. My grandmother actually said to me, I need to sing a Christian song. So I still actually do that now. So I sing a bit. And count to 10. And if 10 doesn't work, you try and count to 20. And so, yeah, so just as a parent, if a kid is doing bad or they're doing well, or if they're carrying drinks, for instance, let's say they're in the B team rugby or the A team rugby, but they're on the bench, let them be the best guy there. Like if they want it bad enough, and if it comes from them where they're going to work hard, then they might get up there, but then they need to go through a process of failing, of learning, of not getting things. I think if you get things too easily, it doesn't always work out. I think sometimes you need to have it rough. You need to get dropped out of teams. You need to lose. You might not make provincial side this year because you might have slacked a bit, or other guys are training a bit harder. So I think that for the parents as well. And yeah, just make sure it's the kid's dream at the end of the day. Make sure it's not your dream that you wanted to live. And I did speak about it earlier where, I mean, my mom could have lived, and she might have regret, I don't know, but she's never put the regret on us where she said, okay, yeah, you need to train a certain way. This is what you want to do, this and that. She left us. And I think that for me is why I'm still playing sport, because my identity was never created. Well, at a stage I created that myself, but that's on me. But from my parents or my support system, it was never created. If I lose, then I don't get food the night, or I sleep outside, and that's what I always say to kids. Like I say to kids, if they score a duck and they're like, yeah, but this and that, then I'm like, are you going to sleep outside tonight? No. Are you going to get food? Yes. Are you whatever? Are you going to get a hiding? You might get a hiding because of the way you carried yourself on the field. That I agree with. But yeah, so just to let the course happen the way it should. I think sometimes as well as parents, don't try and protect your kid in sport. Let them feel that hurt when they lose. Let them cry. Let them feel that how can I say, when they win, and let them feel how it feels when you're failing and you're still working hard and getting to the point you want to get. Because I think that is what life is about. Is some people might get things differently. Everyone's journey is a bit different, but at the end of the day, sport, you can't hide away. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you come from money, if you don't come from money, that's not an excuse. But let the kid work, and if they don't make like a provincial side, leave them. Let them work harder. Like I've got a kid now, 17 years old. He's never made provincial cricket in his life, and he's always like, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's always like, Coach, I can be there. And then our chat is just like, just keep going. Keep going. Don't change anything. Work hard. And this year he managed sort of to get that goal. So for me, that was a dream from under 10, whatever. And now he's 17. So it's a life journey. And I mean, yeah, let them just stay involved in the game. And I think there's actually a lot of advice that you can give, but love your kid. It is your kid. And let the coaches do the jobs. There's different things. There's roles for coaches and there's roles for parents. So just love your kid, even if they do well, even if they don't do well. That's sort of it.
That's amazing. For the listeners out there, the sound of winning versus the sound of losing, there's no difference. You should be humble and you should be quiet. The arousal level. If your highs are too high, your lows are too low, you're set to be in for a tough day at the office. And then I'm not even talking about the players. I'm talking about the parents, the supporters next to those fields. Don't let your highs be too high and your lows be too low. You've got to try and find a balance where you stay close to that middle line and not go over the barrier of being overexcited or over disappointed, because that's where you said it best, Benjamin, is the kids pick up on your body language in an instant, in a flash. And remember, these kids are the unfinished product. We always say, don't judge the unfinished product. They're in the development phase. They're not in a performance phase for the most part. Benjamin, you talked about faith, briefly singing about a song. How's your faith shaped you, in day-to-day living, how you approach life and sport?
Yeah, so I think for me, grew up going to church. Probably could have gone a bit more often than would have liked. I think one thing as well, like from a young age, so my dad died when I was 2 years old. So for me, that was a tough part growing up. So again, I think that also shaped me in the person I am today. Then like sort of my mentor died when I was 17, 16. And I mean, you're a teenage boy. So that was probably a tough part to deal with. And then, like I've always had growing up, like I don't think I've dealt with it now. It doesn't get easier, but from a young age, I didn't deal with it. And then from a stage, I think it was tough for me to go to church because I was hurt. I don't know if it makes sense, where
Absolutely.
like I felt very, very hurt. And then like when I met my wife, when we started dating, like we made it a thing to go to church to make sure to deal with the problem. And I think like I was sort of lingering with this problem around me where I never fully dealt with it. So anything that sort of remote to failing or losing someone, I just fell back into that pit. So yeah, we made a thing, and to make sure that like in our relationship, it's me, her, but God at the top. So that like sort of triangle, the 3-in-1. So we've definitely tried to put our life around that. And then at this stage, especially playing sports, I mean, I was actually young. I think one of the teachers used to tell us like, listen, you pray for things. And I remember at a young age, I always prayed for a wife, for a wife that fits with what I want to do and how I want to do things. And then sort of prayed for, I sort of went a different lifestyle to the normal people, like sort of went or outside of the normal, and sort of just prayed like everything would be fine. And then this last couple of years, I I think when you were younger, you sort of prayed for things to happen your way, if it makes sense. You sort of wanted that. And I think my biggest thing is at this stage is let it happen the way it should. I think that is like the thing I'm most stuck on. I think God knows your heart, as a sportsman, as a businessman, as a parent, whatever you might be going through. I think God knows your heart. And I think the journey with that is when I walk onto the cricket field is the first thing I say is like, what should be or what's meant to be will be today. And I think for me, the biggest thing is, so if I make a duck, then I walk off the field and I'm okay with it because it was meant to be that for a reason. I mean, a lot of the times you don't get the business transaction you wanted, or you don't get, or you get into a breakup, for instance, in your life, or whatever the case may be, or you don't get picked for the cricket team, then you should be, and I think it comes with faith, is to say like, listen, yeah, it should happen the way it should. It's not nice, but there's bigger steps above that. So, and I mean, I've walked on the cricket field where I've scored runs, where I've won games, and again, it stayed the same. Like I sort of tried to stay humble as much as possible, and at the end of the day, the biggest thing as well is I saw it from Rich Froning. He's a CrossFit athlete, and his biggest thing is, and he's actually got like a tattoo here. I don't have a tattoo, but is to glorify God. And I read his book, and for me as well, when I'm coaching at the gym, when you are playing on the cricket field or whatever the case may be, it's not for us. Like, it's to glorify God. And I want to look at myself as a Christian athlete where I can have a platform like you're building here now. I mean, we had at the gym today as well, I coached 2 classes and I played worship music for 2 hours straight. And I think if I've got a platform to be a Christian athlete, or to sort of get the word of God across as well, that's sort of my platform I want to get, because it's not me. I got the talent in whatever I'm doing, if it was tennis, cricket, whatever, but I'm also fortunate to have that talent. And I think how you use that talent is, I think, not to boast, it's not you. It's just to say thank you, stay humble, and yeah, to glorify God in the end of the day. I think that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. If we can do things for a bigger purpose, bigger than ourselves, I think if you can wake up and you do things for not yourself, for a bigger purpose, you're pretty in a good spot. But we've met the enemy, and the enemy is us, the poor me syndrome. The juniors, usually I tease them, I help them sing a song as well, but it's usually I, me. It's all about myself. And if you can find a bigger reason to do things, I think you're definitely on the right direction. How's your faith helped you approach your coaching, your style of coaching, maybe yelled, screamed, been tough, and now just approaching it a little bit more out of a biblical standpoint, or any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think in general, the faith part is just making me a bit more calmer in terms of whether, let's say, I'm playing is just to sort of to know like things happen for a reason. The coaching part, I've never been the coach that screams at a kid, or I've always tried. And I've seen that from my grandfather, where, I mean, he never lost his temper on a tennis court coaching any kid. He was always exactly the same. And that's sort of how I want to try and be as a coach as well, is to sort of stay level-headed. Again, even if the kid struggles with something, because they're also trying. And yeah, I think the faith part in it is, it just, for me, it's to try and make a bit more difference is when you're actually coaching, not just to, yes, technical cues, that's why they're there, but sort of to try and be a bit of a mentorship as well, to sort of try and lead the kids into the right way with, let's say, different things. And like I also always say to the kids, doesn't matter like if they're a bit older, if they can understand, is to like, they come to me, coach, I didn't score runs, I don't know what's going on. And it's just like, don't worry, just keep doing what you're doing, keep working, have faith, things will work out the way it should. And yeah, I think in life, if you can have that, and I'm not saying don't work hard, guys. I'm still saying give if you need to give everything that you need to do, and then let it happen the way it should. And yeah,
It will come find you, huh? I definitely, pro sport will definitely find you. I don't think you've got to go ballistic crazy. I had a vision in mind now when, when kids play sports and parents are close by and the kid hits the ball out, in tennis, you've got to stay between the lines, fortunately, unfortunately. But so kid hits the ball out and the parent goes like, oh, woof, this kid, I sometimes want to ask the parent, do you really think your kid wanted to hit out? Did you really think your kid didn't want to be brave and try to show you how much he wants to impress you and, show you how brave he or she is? And I think that's a big theme, when faith comes around, you got to keep the faith that this kid's finally going to get it. But if that kid's going to hit out and you're losing faith and you just want to pull out your hair in your head, it's a simple picture I just got in my mind. So hopefully that makes sense. Benjamin, a young boy or girl's listening to this podcast and, they want to become a professional athlete. What's one piece of advice you can give them?
Yeah, I'm going to try and keep it short. I think follow your dream. If you've got a dream, set out for it, chase it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. I think that's when biggest dreams end, is when people tell you like, yo, maybe try this. If you've got a thing in your head set out that you want to achieve, go achieve it. Try your best. Absolutely give it your all. With that in mind is you need to love the game for as long as possible. Whatever you want to do, fall in love with the game. Stay in love with the game. The game is gonna hurt you. The game is there's gonna be tears. There's gonna be joy. I think there's gonna be more downs than ups, but the ups is worth it. And then just try and get yourself involved in the game for as long as possible by getting a degree while you're playing, doing the odd job while you're playing, coach while you're playing. Or, I even said to the other day, there's a guy in Holland playing cricket as well, and he's an Uber driver. So he's a professional cricketer and he drives Uber as well just to keep the dream going. So sacrifice, there's definitely going to be sacrifice if you want to goal, different stuff. If it's meant to be that you are a youngster that's earning 10 million in the SA20, you probably don't have to do that. But majority of the guys, that is not even 1% of the kids that play sport that get that right. But yeah, the biggest thing for me is love the game and don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because you can. I think if you set your mind to something and you work towards it, how many times in a kid's life or in your life have you, but that might be a bit tough, maybe do this, or do you think you really can get there? And I think the last word, we had a culture camp this weekend with our cricket team, and I think the word was belief. I think that is the biggest thing, is if you can believe something, I think you can, and you set your mind to it. Again, don't let anyone tell you. I think you can reach that goal.
Wow, that's great advice for you, the listener out there. I think that message is quite clear. If you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. You're always right. Whatever mindset you have, if you think you can't, you just, you won't. But if you think you can, you most definitely will. You're still a young guy, a difficult question to ask, but what do you think your legacy, what's it that you want a student to leave with? Let's say 10 years after they've been coached by Benjamin van Niekerk, what is it that you would want them to be reminded of?
Yeah, so I've never, for instance, in our coaching, like you've got social media at this stage, where it takes over. I've never, when someone scores 100 or when someone makes a provincial team, I've never posted that as a coach, because I don't care about the performance. For me, if you do well, great. If you don't do well, it's fine. We'll go again. So I think one thing that I would be wanted to be remembered of is a coach that's helped you along the way. with the mental side, yes, with the skill side, but also a coach that guides you through whatever life brings at you. So I think my biggest thing is what I wanted to be remembered of is a coach that this coach helped me. He cared about me. I think that's one thing. He actually cared about me. He's interested in me. Like he he sort of he asked me how's it going, not just did you make runs or whatever the case may be. And then yeah, someone that's always been there, giving their best, tried everything to sort of get you in that path. And again, I'm also just a coach where I can't, if I coach 20 professional cricketers and they all make it great, but if I coach kids and I don't have one kid that's played professional cricket, also great. I mean, I think those things don't matter for me. So if, yeah, sort of, I want to be, try to remembered as my grandfather, where I think he was a guy, he always had time for people. He always did the extra yard, did extra effort. He was humble. Um, yeah, and then I want to be remembered as a coach. Like you said, I'm still young, that's energetic, that loves the game, and that's why I coach. Because at the end of the day, I was also that kid on the other side where someone threw balls at me, and I just enjoyed it. And now I want to try and give that same joy to the youngsters. So yeah, I want to be remembered for a lot more than the actual skill that you bring. And I think from a playing career as well is, yeah, the runs and the stats, and I don't think those things matter in the bigger events of it. I think, yeah, you want to be remembered as a human, as a person. I think that is the biggest thing. If you leave a legacy or whatever, I think Roger Federer, for instance, very big idol of mine. AB de Villiers as well. I think they left the sport, yeah, with amazing stats. But I mean, people are going to tell you, Roger is such a great guy. He was so humble. He was, I mean, if you've got a picture of tennis in your head, he's probably the person that comes
Yeah.
up. Yes, there's guys that's broken his records. But if you think of tennis, you think of, oh, well, I don't know the youngsters, but you think of Roger Federer. And I think that sort of set the tone. He was a nice person, like his interviews, he had time. Um, yeah, just a genuine good human. I think that's sort of it.
Summed up, I think a quote from Roger Federer on this is, "It's nice to be important, but it's way more important to be nice." Um,
Yeah.
that's unfortunately not always the case. Also thinking of just when you were speaking or talking right now, is what came to my mind is character. The old cliche of a good coach can change a child's sport, but a great coach can change that kid's destiny, that future. So no, I'm really excited to see what you're going to achieve in your coaching, in your playing. Still a young guy. You can still do a lot of good things. What excites you most about the sport in South Africa?
I think, I think in South Africa there's genuine talent here. I think even rugby, tennis, cricket, there's so much talent floating around. So I think at this stage, I mean, the rugby is doing well. You can see all the fundamentals are in place. I mean, from club rugby, school rugby, all the way up. Um, Tennis, I know there's some exciting youngsters as well. There's an exciting youngster here in Middleburg as well. Then cricket as well. I think you'll see, like with the leagues coming up, the SA20. There's a few other different leagues popping around. We've got Division Two at this stage. Got Div One cricket. I mean, the schoolboy cricket is also sort of picking up. Guys are playing a lot of cricket. So no, I think you can go probably say hockey as well. There's so much things here that I think for the future for South Africa it is quite good. I would like to see a bit more money like there's enough money in golf, but I mean to get kids playing tennis a bit longer, I think that's also the financial aspect of becoming a professional tennis player, especially from South Africa. I think that's quite tough where if you don't get a sponsorship. So definitely some more investments in the, how can I say, in the smaller sports, if it makes sense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, very excited for what, especially what the cricket holds. I mean, we just won the Test Championship, so that World Cup that we won. So now upcoming World Cup, and I think there's genuinely, looking around the country, there's a lot of youngsters putting up their hands. So our older guys will definitely need to work even more harder if you want to stay in the game. So no, I think it's always brilliant to have a couple of youngsters in the mix, and then with some experience and guys that's a bit older as well, just to mold the youngsters as well.
Oh, awesome. For tennis players, that's my area, but play anyone, anywhere, anytime. Don't be a snob. Give back. Play up. No problem. If kid's in the 12s, he's winning 70% of his matches, have him play up every now and then. But when last have people played down? Just thinking of that right now. And I think sport will be in a bigger, better place if people would give back, not just being takers, but being givers as well. Benjamin, absolute pleasure. Great seeing you after all these years. Great fond memories for me personally. Your mom, your grandparents, your brother. I know I spent some time around him as well, and just excited. About what sport has done for you. The Zanders of the world, people I've got the opportunity now to get on a call and see how much the game has impacted them, or the sport has impacted your lives and helped you guys go from young boys to amazing young men. And just all the best for the future. And thanks for the difference you're making in the youth's life. I think working in the trenches is not always the easiest, but it's the most rewarding place to be. Is not to be called a high performance coach, but to be actually the guy on the ground, in the card trunk. You've got a bucket of balls ready to throw someone, and that's a special place. So, is there one question that we should have asked you that we didn't, or did you think we covered it pretty well?
No, I think that's probably it. And while we're at this call, I always say, we were chatting, and I actually had deja vu that, you asked me a question, and I literally had deja vu, being in that moment. And I think my definition for deja vu is you are exactly where you need to be. And I think just having this call, speaking to you again, things happen for a reason, people's journeys happen for a reason. And I mean, us being on this call, I think it's fantastic. Hopefully we can, even if one person watches it, and we could help them as well, or just give them some influence. So thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. And then hopefully in a couple of years we can have another chat and see where we're at.
Absolutely. Thank you everyone for joining us call, and we'll see you on the next one. Adios.